Yeah, hi. In this tutorial of the Pandas DataFrame, we will be covering basically styling and the formatting. Let's say we have a data frame in which the columns are A, B, and C, and these are the indexes, and these are the values. You see, some of the columns have values as negative, and some values are positive. Now, let's say if the requirement is to display negative values using, let's say, red color, then we can create a function which is something like this. Define or definition of this function is color underscore negative red, and the value we are passing is x. So if this value is less than 0, then we are saying color is red, otherwise we are keeping the color as black, and we are returning this particular value in this format, color percentage. So let's say if we test this particular value for, let's say, minus negative 5, we are going to get color red. And if we test this function for a value for a positive value, let's say 7, we get color black because that's what we have specified. Now, if we apply this uh, function that we have created on each of these elements, we have to use data frame.apply map. So as you know, apply map applies the given function on each of the elements of the data frame. So we'll use df.style.apply map and the name of the function. So what we will see is any negative value will be displayed in the red color, and rest of the values will be displayed in the black color. Now, if the requirement is to highlight any particular value, then we can use highlighter. Now, let's say our requirement is within a data frame. We want to highlight the maximum values or the minimum values with the background color so that those values are displayed differently or actually get highlighted in the display of the data frame. So we can create a function. Let's say the function name is highlight underscore max. So basically we want to highlight the maximum value within a given column or a given row. So what we have to do is we're just comparing each value for that particular row or column with the maximum value of that row or column. If it is the maximum value, then we are returning this background color as yellow. Otherwise, we are not returning anything. So that's a simple logic we are using. Now, to test this particular function, if I pass tf.a, that is the a column of data frame, I'll get like this. So this will return a list. So only for that value, which is the maximum value, I'll get this background color as yellow, and for rest of the values, I'll get empty string. Now we can apply this highlight max function on the data frame using df.style.apply, and name of the function is highlight underscore max, and x is equals to 0. It means along the rows. That is, this way we are going to apply. So in the output, what we see within each for for column A, the maximum value 16 gets highlighted. For column B, the maximum value is 19, that gets highlighted. For column C, its maximum value gets highlighted. So we have covered two different styles. One is where we are having negative values, we are displaying it with the red color, and the second is where we are having, let's say, maximum value, we are highlighting it with the background color of yellow. Now we can use both these styles in combination. So what we can do is df.style. Now the first style that we want to apply is the apply map, which will apply to each which basically will apply function, the given function, to each value of the data frame. So it will first apply this function, apply map, and it will, wherever there are negative values, those negative values get colored. And after that, we are chaining it with another apply function, and we are passing highlight underscore max function to it. Then by default, it will apply it for each of the columns. So once the negative values get highlighted, after this highlight max function takes into account, and it will highlight the maximum value for each of the columns. So in this way we can chain multiple style functions, and we can style the output in the way we want to, with different colors or different uh, presentation we want to. Next is to format the numbers. Let's say we have a data frame in which we are having negative values, positive values, and there are many uh, digits after the decimals. Now, let's say the requirement is uh, uh, to present the output in such a way that the underlying data should not change, but when we display the data frame, it should present only two digits after the decimal. That is, it should round up to two digits after the decimal without changing the underlying data. That's a precondition, okay? Because we don't want to make any changes in the actual data. We just want to change the display format. So how do we do this? We say df.style dot format because we are going to format the numbers. Now we can specify what formatting we want to apply is within double quotes, and within double quotes we are giving it in the form of within the curly braces colon dot 2f. So dot 2 means after decimal there should be two digits and it's a floating point, so we are giving f here. So if you see all these values which were there in the early data frame are now actually represented just with two numbers after the decimal, and they are kind of a uh, uh, rounded to the nearest value. There are other style formats. Let's say we want to in this way in this output, if you see all the negative numbers are having minus, and all the positive numbers don't have any sign in front of it. Now let's say our requirement is that I want to display sign in front of the number. That is, even if it's a positive number, I want plus to come to appear in front of the number. Then how do we do this? So let's say for this column C, I want the sign to appear before the digit. Now, if it's a negative, by default it will come minus, but if it is positive, that is, then we want plus to appear before the digit. So what we are giving is df.style.format. Then again, this is the function that we are applying, and within the dictionary we have to specify what format we want to apply for each of the columns. Let's say for column C, we want sign to appear before the digit. So we give it like this. Within double quotes, there is this curly braces. Then we say colon and plus dot 2f. So after decimal, only two digits will be displayed in the. It's a floating point, so we are giving f here. Now this plus indicates that if the number is positive, then also display the sign, which is a positive sign. Otherwise, it will display the negative sign for the negative numbers. So that's what we see in this column C. For column B, we are just using dot 2 if it means we want to just display two numbers after the digits. So this is what we are getting. For column A, we are not applying anything. So it will keep on displaying the whole numbers as it is, as was in the original data frame. So in this way, we can apply formatting on specific columns we want to, and we can also display the signs before the numbers the way we want to. Now we can also combine these formatting techniques along with the styling techniques that we have done so far. So all we need to do is to just change the operations. So let's say we have this data frame and we want to apply all the three techniques that we have learned so far. That is, we want to, wherever there is a negative number, we want it to appear as red. Wherever there is a maximum number within a column, we want to highlight it with the background color yellow, and we want to display all the values up to only two digits after the decimal. So all these things we can apply by using this chaining method. So we say df.style and then dot apply map, and the name of the function is color negative red. So what it will do, it will apply this function color negative red on each of the elements of this data frame, and wherever it's a negative number, it will be displayed in the red color. After that, it will apply this function, which is the highlight max, on each of the columns. By default, on each, this is applied on the columns. So for each of the columns, it will just simply color it up, and then in the end, we are just changing the display format of the values as plus dot 2, it means we want to display signs before the numbers, and we want to display only 2 digit after the decimal. So that's how we can chain the formatting and the styling techniques to represent the data frame data as per our requirement. The point to notice, it only changes the display of the data. The underlying data remains intact, it doesn't change. Uh, Now there are some built-in styling functions that we can use. Let's say if we want to highlight the maximum. Earlier we actually wrote highlight max function by ourselves. Now there are some built-in functions as well which we can directly use. So it's simple. What we have to do is just say df dot style. Df is the data frame dot style, and name of the function is highlight max, and we can specify the color which we want to use to highlight. So if we are giving light green, it means the maximum value within each column should be highlighted by this light green color. Similarly, we can use highlight min. So this will highlight the minimum value along each of these columns with the color. Default is the yellow color. We can change the color by specifying specific color as a parameter to this particular function. Now let's say our data frame is such that there are some nans are present, and we want those nan, that is missing values, to be highlighted explicitly with red color, so that we are aware, okay, there are the missing values, and some action can be taken on it uh, to either clear it or replace it with some specific values. So just to highlight the presence of a nan values, you can use highlight underscore null function. So the way to use it is df dot style dot highlight underscore null, and we say null underscore color equals to red. So wherever the null value is there, that gets colored as that gets colored with the red color. Now let's say we are reading data from a file players.csv. This is what the data of the players is. Now we can specify this highlight max on the entire data frame. So we can say players.style.highlight max. So it means all the columns will be applied this function highlight underscore max. So the maximum value in each of the columns will get highlighted. For example, in this case, let's say Tendulkar played 200 matches, the maximum number of matches, whereas in terms of the batting average, Bradman had the highest batting average. In terms of centuries, Tendulkar. Then in terms of highest score in Test cricket was by Lara, and highest number of runs by Tendulkar. Similarly, highest number of ducks by two players, Lara as well as Ponting. Now, if we want to display the data of a data frame in some specific background color with some specific, formatted front color and some border in it, then we can specify all these features using players.style.set underscore properties. So in that case, whatever values of the properties we are passing to it, let's say background color is black and font color is lawn green and the border color is white, those values get applied to the data frame, and we can display the data frame in a pretty good looking format. There is another way which is called as displaying the values in the form of gradients. So in this case, first we have to import a library called as cbone. So I'm just importing the library cbone as SNS. Now, before using the gradient, we have to specify a color map. So I'm using the light palette function of the SNS, and I'm passing green. So it will generate a palette of green colors. So that will be stored in CM. Okay. Now what we have to do, we have to just call the data frame name players dot style dot background underscore gradient, and CMap is CM. So it will, where CM is basically the palette of the green colors. Now what you will notice is that it will create a, the output will be displayed with the background of green. Now wherever we have the highest value, there we will see the max, there we will see the bold green color, and wherever we, or the dark green color, wherever we have the lesser values, the color slightly goes on into lighter mode. So for each of these columns, the highest value has a background as dark green, whereas the lesser values have the lighter green color. So in this way, we can clearly see that, okay, that's how, what is the trend within a given column, which is the highest and which is the second highest by just looking at the background color. So this is also an interesting way to display the data of a data frame by using the uh, background gradient and with the help of Seaborn library. I think that's it for now in this tutorial. Thank you.